I am Ibrahim Traoré and today I'm pulling off your masks. Yes. A private diplomatic meeting was recently held in Geneva. Quiet, off the record, and carefully orchestrated. No press, no photos, no official acknowledgement. But the topic was unmistakable. Ibrahim Traoré, Israel, along with representatives from several Western institutions, gathered behind closed doors. The concern wasn't just about Burkina Faso. It was about a leader becoming too influential, too defiant, and too capable of rallying a broader African resistance. Multiple sources confirmed that this meeting, though discreet, centered on coordinating a strategy to counter Traoré's rising profile across the continent. He was increasingly viewed not just as a transitional head of state, but as the face of a new Pan-African anti-imperialist movement. They called it stability coordination, but the underlying motive was unmistakable. Contain the spread of Traoré's influence before it challenges the geopolitical status quo. News of the meeting leaked. Within a week, Traoré issued a public response. No theatrics, no outrage, just a broadcast from Ouagadougou midnight. Black background, military uniform. What followed was not a speech. It was a strategic message directed not only at Israel but at every foreign actor attempting to manage African politics from behind the scenes. There are those, he said, who believe African sovereignty can be negotiated in rooms where Africans are absent, that our futures can be traded like commodities. But that era is over. He didn't name names. He didn't need to. The speech was deliberate, measured, and deeply unsettling for those invested. In preserving existing power dynamics on the continent, let's put this in context. Since taking power, Traoré has expelled French military presence, halted Western-backed aid arrangements, and reoriented Burkina Faso's diplomatic posture toward non-aligned nations. He's called out institutions like ours, questioned the motives of the IMF, and openly challenged Israeli and Western involvement in African security affairs until recently. This was dismissed by many foreign observers as populist rhetoric. But that view is changing. Fast Traoré's rhetoric is now being matched by policy. And as messaging broadcast across the continent in multiple languages, it's resonating in capital cities from Bamako to Kinshasa. That's what prompted the Geneva meeting. There was growing concern that Traoré's ideas were not just radical, they were becoming popular among youth movements, among civil society, even within parts of the African military establishment. And now those same ideas are being echoed by other leaders in Mali, and Guinea. So when Traoré responded publicly, it wasn't just a statement. It was a warning shot. You tried to sell us security, he said, but delivered dependence. You offered cooperation but demanded compliance. We are not your clients. We are not your projects. We are nations and we remember everything. That last line, we remember everything, is key because the heart of this confrontation isn't policy, it's memory. Traoré is leveraging a long-standing collective memory of colonial exploitation, economic manipulation, and forced dependency. He is weaponizing that memory to build something new, a continental identity that refuses to be defined by the West. And he's doing it while remaining in uniform, while holding executive power, and while openly resisting conventional foreign partnerships. This is why the Geneva meeting matters, because for the first time major powers are no longer trying to work with African governments. They are trying to prevent a shift in African political consciousness. Traoré is not just speaking for Burkina Faso. He is intentionally or not reframing the terms of engagement between Africa and the rest of the world, and Israel along with its Western partners knows this. The response from Tel Aviv has been unusually quiet. No formal denial, no public acknowledgement, but intelligence leaks and diplomatic chatter confirm what many now suspect. This is being taken seriously. There's talk of re-evaluating Israel's Africa strategy, more economic partnerships, more defense diplomacy, less confrontation, more containment. But the problem is the ground is already shifting since the speech. 3 African nations have reviewed or paused negotiations with Israeli-linked contractors. 2 have called for regional discussions on non-aligned alliances, and youth-led organizations in Senegal, Tanzania, and the DRC have launched campaigns demanding greater transparency in foreign dealings. This didn't happen in isolation. A chain reaction, and Traoré knew it would be. He ended his message with this: "Power used to mean being the only one in the room. Now it means being the only one brave enough to speak. Africa is speaking, and we will not be managed." That line hit hard, not just diplomatically but culturally, because for decades Africa was managed through military deals, debt arrangements, development programs conditioned on silence. Traoré didn't just reject that model, exposed it. And in doing so, he changed the script. Now the question isn't how do we contain him, it's how many others will follow. This is why the Geneva meeting mattered. Not because of what was said behind closed doors, but because the door itself has been blown open. Before you go, we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Do you believe Traoré's response will accelerate Africa's diplomatic independence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you value serious breakdowns like this, subscribe to Traoré Uprising for clear, grounded analysis of the moments the mainstream won't cover. Because this isn't just another headline. This is a realignment, and it's already underway.